Alright, this one shows off a pretty broken Pack 3 strat that I think is kind of the meta, and it was done on hard mode. I've been doing ribbon hunting on hard mode, which, by the way, is terrible, and I do not recommend it. Hard mode is just an RNG fest, and it is not very fun. The game should not come down to just like whether you get the right hard mode options in the end after playing like super perfectly, and then you just get screwed over by two options at the end. But as you can see, I have a lot of the ribbons, still missing some of them. I don't know if I'll actually get all of them since it is extremely frustrating. But it definitely needs some rebalancing. I don't think the devs are actually going to do that. But getting the option between like having full weakness on your team or having full ink on your team just can absolutely kill you in the end. Gets rid of all the equipment and stuff like that. It just the options need to be somewhat reasonable, like unicycle or something like that. But there's not that many options that are actually like that, and it feels like it's not in your control, and that makes it not very fun. But so the ribbon I was going for was the Bass. It is a random tier 2 that its ability is like give one experience to level 2 self friend, but I don't really use it whatsoever because I'm not going to sell it. That's the thing with ribbon hunting, so it's kind of just like a useless unit on the team. But luckily, this strat, you can have one kind of useless unit on the team. But there's a couple different ways to actually get here. You can see I went with a leech, is it tuna? Which I have never really done before. It's kind of an interesting strat. You can also like leech kiwi. That's kind of another thing. I've played a whole bunch of Pack 3 grinding hard mode, and I've kind of learned a lot. And I sold this strat from like someone in a lobby, and it turns out it's really good. Ibex, it was really underrated by me because I never really tried it out too much, but when an enemy is hurt or pushed, you remove 70% of its health. So it's like a level 2 skunk kind of. And Caramel is actually a great way to just initially hit the most healthy enemy. Even though it's like a tier 2 food, ends up being super good with it because obviously you deal 3 damage to the healthiest enemy, then you remove 70% of its health. And then you combine that with the what is it called? Like the weird octo. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, combine that with the it deals 4 damage to the lowest health enemies. A lot of times the healthiest enemy is going to go to the lowest health enemy, so then it ends up being just like a snipe fest and you kill their strongest units without even having them attack, which ends up being so good. But the other way to get there is to do Mantis instead of Leech, which is probably the more common one because that's actually like a better self scaler. But this one just didn't really happen to work out that way. Got an early shoe bill, which I mean, it's not like amazing, but there's a strawberry in the shop. I usually don't take it, but because there was one, I'll take that. It's kind of expensive, like 6 gold for 4/4, but maybe I get another 4/4 next turn. And then, of course, you can get strawberry jam, which is pretty much 1 gold for 4/4. So it can end up being pretty good. But you can also see a lot of the decisions that I'm making, which, like, I probably shouldn't have this on fast forward because there's a lot of decisions that are actually kind of interesting on hard mode. Like, I've really played so much to the point where I kind of know what option is, like, gives you the best odds. Surprisingly, the coconut one is actually one of the better ones, but killing that tuna there gave a whole bunch of stats. That was pretty satisfying. And yeah, and there's the Ibex plus Caramel. So kind of setting up the build. I initially didn't record this run, so I just went through the replays. I kind of forgot that I could do that, but I thought this was a really good kind of showcase of some interesting star pack, like just playing gameplay, I guess. Because there's a lot of things that maybe people wouldn't think to do immediately. At least it took me a while to kind of figure out like how to play Star Pack, and I think it is a pretty good pack. Certainly an improvement over the last one. Although I don't see like a ton of people actually playing it or grinding to get good at it. Maybe just because it's not like super amazing in the 1v1 meta, which I guess is mainly what people's concerns are, at least around the Sap Dojo. But there's the early Ammonite. I forget what it is, but I can actually leech it to death since now the leech deals 2 damage on level up, so it's only going to take 2 turns. And yeah, being the pill bottle is definitely one of the easier ones on most of the squads, so I can just have a random front unit that dies very quickly, and that's not really too big of a problem. Piggy bank is one of the best ones you can get later on. It kind of sucks early in mid game, but sometimes you're kind of just forced to take it because the other option is like garbage, like boomerang. Although boomerang's actually not that bad at this point either because pepper exists, and the same thing with scissors. And a lot of other packs where pepper doesn't exist, those can be a huge problem. But because of pepper. It actually saves you a lot of things. Also, one interesting one is iguana against the scorpions. I've actually had some success, although iguana is usually not super helpful, but it's kind of fun when you get to kill the scorpions and place it in the back. But there we go. So the real Velociraptor is the final piece of the puzzle because with the Dumbo Octo, it now only works once per pet, but still, getting a refresh on a pepper is just absolutely insane because you survive a whole extra hit, which with the level 3 Dumbo Octo is another 12 damage. And I mean, yeah, combined with the Ibex, it just ends up being so good. It destroys almost every team. Any summon team, you're probably going to snipe out their back line. I mean, even things that have like a 50-50. I don't know exactly. I haven't thought about the math on it, but for like the most part, I mean, you can see most of the teams get just absolutely destroyed by this. It's just so much damage, and yeah. So getting 3 snipes, 12 damage each snipe, that is 36 damage. Pretty good. Luckily, got the Scorpion one, so not too awful. Could also popcorn the back just to have some safety. But instead, just going for some scaling with Ostrich, which I don't actually use too often because most of the time it's actually not that fast compared to like Spino or like Velociraptor plus Real Velociraptor or something like that. It usually is not good enough, but in this case, with such a good team, I'm able to kind of just get away with it and continue to scale up. And there's really not too many teams I lose to, I think. I mean, I'm at 7 wins, and now the game plan is just really simple. I guess I can get a level 2 Real Velociraptor, but pretty much just going to keep rolling. I guess one more Pepper. Sure, that's going to work. And yeah, this is the squad. I wonder, I could go Ibex in front, but it's probably not worth it. Because, I mean, we definitely, with only level 1 Real Velociraptor, I don't want to refresh the Caramel. That would not be super helpful. And it's lovely just to see it absolutely destroy teams because I had so many failures. Hard mode is really difficult, and I mean, I can't be the only one who's going for the hard mode ribbons, right? But like from my experience, my win rate on hard mode is just so low because the teams, I mean, you get a lot of draws because I mean, there's like the hard mode option to force draws, which is one of the better ones, but it's still really annoying because once you get to the super late rounds, the teams just become so hard to beat. Combined with the RNG, the hard mode things, it's a real disaster. It ends up being so difficult. Hot dog, probably the best thing you can buy. Super good with peppers, and yeah, just gonna keep rolling. I guess cotton candy is also okay if you just happen to buy that. And is this the last team? Swordfish, luckily, have protection against that. And even though they have so many stats, just a whole bunch of attack from the peppers and get the 10 wins. So yeah, this is like super good team. I think this is probably the meta in Star Pack if you can get it. And thanks for watching. See ya.